What's up, YouTube and
Are we on?
Twitch? Yes. Twitch audience. This is J-Base Phoenix, and this is John. He's never been in any sort of video ever in life. We're gonna continue reading more Descended Awakening, my book. Are you nervous, John?
I'm so nervous. I can't speak.
He's gonna help us read today. He came down or up from Central Jersey to do this with me, and I didn't stream yesterday because I was drunk and I didn't want to record myself. I didn't want to record myself.
You should have.
It might have been funny, but maybe next time. So it's Saturday. We're continuing to read. And when we last left off in the book, it was the end of Ash's origin. Actually, this doesn't make much sense for you to be here, but he's here. You haven't read through the full book, right?
No.
So he's gonna have no idea what's going on.
This is all spoilers then.
Yeah, it's all sports. Spoiler alert for you. But, yeah, here we go. You wanna... No, you're in the... Nope, that's... No. Okay. Is it muted? Oh, God. Okay, yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. So we're gonna start. Tucker drops to his knees from a chamber as steam releases from it. Ava does the same from the chamber next to his. Tucker slows, stands, and walks over to his girlfriend. Reading this.
I would not advise that, Mr. Howard. Dr. Daiichi says. Daiichi.
Go ahead.
We do not know either of your abilities, and making contact with one another could be fatal.
So these two, Tucker is the main character, Jay's boyfriend.
Jay's boyfriend? That's a spoiler.
Best friend.
Okay.
You know that in the first sentence of meeting him. He's his best friend. Ava is Tucker's girlfriend, and they were both grew up orphans, but now they're of age, and they're getting this serum. You know about the serum, right?
I knew about that.
Okay. Yeah, they're getting the serum. It's a pretty big moment for both of them. Tucker stops and looks at Daiichi. So, what do we do?
We advise testing before any physical contact is made, Daiichi says. Tucker looks down at Ava, who struggles to stand.
Let's get this over with. I need to be able to hug Ava.
Since your vitals are fine, let's test your reflexes, Daiichi says.
No.
Daiichi says, after checking their vitals with his bionic eye. Nurse Riley.
Good reading, John. Edison Riley, the nurse with the cybernetic tail, walks up to the doctor and places a stress ball in his hand. He turns to face Tucker and chucks the ball at him. Tucker puts a hand up to catch it, but the ball goes through his hand and the rest of his body.
What the hell? Tucker exclaims.
Before we continue, I forgot we were supposed to do this in the beginning. Shout out to Cool Kid 10909 for the follow off stream. Appreciate the follow. And any family member that followed me, you know who you are. Thank you. Let's continue. That's the fastest we've ever figured out someone's abilities through testing, Daiichi says. He turns to Addison, who has a tablet. Write down phasing or intangibility and possible density control. Mr. Howard, would you kindly pick up the ball? That's not what he said, but yeah, go ahead.
Tucker turns around to pick the ball up and does without any planning. Oh, phasing happening.
Yeah, see?
He turns to Daiichi.
Place it in my hand. Please place it in my hand, Daiichi says, reaching his palm out. Tucker walks over to him and Ava watches, still on the ground. When Tucker tries to place the ball in Daiichi's hand, the ball, along with Tucker's hand, phases through Daiichi's. Tucker pauses, trying to take in the fact that he not only survived the process, but possibly received a useful power.
So I can walk through walls, Tucker asks.
We'd like to test that, Daiichi replies as he watches Ava stand up. But let's check to see if Miss Cruz is doing well. He grabs a stress ball from Tucker and chucks it at Ava. She puts a hand out and the ball shoots toward the ceiling, faster than the speed that Daiichi threw it. Due to the velocity of it, the ball bounces against the ceiling and floor a few times before it finally settles on the floor. Perhaps a shield of some kind, Daiichi inquires. Addison rolls in a massive medicine ball.
What's she gonna do with that? Tucker asks.
Addison lifts the ball with ease when she does this. Tucker looks at her left arm and notices that up to her forearm is also cybernetic, like her tail. Oh, so if you have any questions during the course of this and as to what the heck is happening, you can
Okay,
feel free
cool.
to ask.
Can you describe her tail again?
It's a cybernetic tail.
Oh, how long is it? Like Frieza long or like?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's not something she got. Her brother is the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and the doctor did that to her when she was young. But I think I also go into his backstory in this book. But go ahead.
Wait, don't! He shouts, but Addison throws the ball at Ava anyway. Ava holds both her hands in front of her face to protect herself from the ball. But the ball never hits her. Instead, it stops a few inches in front of her, mid-air, and drops to the floor.
Mr. Howard, it might be safe to touch Miss Cruz now, but we'd like to perform one more test, Daiichi says. If you'll follow us, we will attach you to more advanced technology that will properly read your abilities.
So what the fuck was the point of that? Tucker questions.
To see if you're safe to be near, Daiichi says. We recently had a subject that would release explosive waves from his body uncontrollably. My eye could not pick up any sign that he would do so.
Yo, assholes! We out of here, Tucker says as he walks over to Ava. Can we curse on this?
Yeah, this is part of the book. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wrote it, but it's part of the book.
Tucker says as he walks over to Ava and grabs her hand. Daiichi nods at Addison, and she picks up the medicine ball again and chucks it at the couple.
Babe, Ava shouts. Tucker looks at the ball, hurling through the air at them. He steps in front of her and closes his eyes. The ball phases through the both of them. So, I'll read that. I'll read as the doctor.
Okay.
So, through contact, you can apply your ability to others as well. Interesting, Daiichi says, rubbing his chin. Addison continues to typing on the tablet. If that is all you're willing to do, then that will be all for now. Thank you for your time. And please make sure you register your names with the registry office. Tucker puts his arm around Ava and flips Daiichi off as they walk out. And then a break and another scene.
Scene!
Okay,
All right.
thank you for that. Lux and Tech walk the streets. So why don't you have a costume like Nadia or Densha, Lux asked.
I didn't really think I'll be patrolling like this. Plus, there's no need for me to hide my identity. I don't have anyone I'm close to, Tech says.
You have the deepest voice for a female ever.
Oh, that was... Ha!
No, don't.
I got you again.
Don't.
I got it next.
But you have Nadia and what's his name? You should know this. You're half Puerto Rican.
Alejandro?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that one.
Sure, I care about them, but they can take care of themselves, Tech replies. Their powers are arguably more useful than mine, especially in a fight, which is why I'm glad my ex taught me how to fight.
A brief pause.
Sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that last part, Tech says.
Lux says, waving his hand, who am I to judge? Sadly, he is unaware that this is what he's currently doing to Seismic because he's too focused on the government arresting the innocent exploding guy. This is a guy that was who had received the serum and he couldn't control his powers and he was setting off waves of explosive waves from his body.
Ooh.
And the Alpha Corps, the government, arrested him. And
before or after he exploded?
After. And the heroes that Lux is at odds with, the seismic guy, he controls the 7 heroes. You've read about them before. He kind of just stepped down and let the government take the guy without any sort of questioning. And it's like, well, they all work for the government, so what the hell was he supposed to do? But I don't know, he's mad at him, and I forgot where I was going with this.
I like it.
He's too focused. Another situation he was judging. Regardless, Tech smiles at what he said. A purse snatcher snatches a purse from a lady and runs down the street toward Lux and Tech. Lux's eyes glow, and he throws an energy blast at the criminal's legs. The energy, instead of exploding against the thug's legs, wraps around them, tripping him and causing him to fall face first onto the pavement. That hurts. Go ahead.
Cool. Didn't know you could do that, Tech says, complimenting Lux.
Neither did I, he says. Tech picks up the purse, and they both walk over to the owner of the purse.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much, the lady says. She pulls out her phone and taps at the screen. Shoot.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'll call the cops, but my phone's not working.
Tech points at the screen. Is it working now?
The lady's face lights up. Wow! Yes, it is! She dials for the police. What are your names? I like to make sure that Alpha Corps hears about this.
Core. Lux and Tech, Lux says.
Thank you both so much, the lady says. The two continue walking.
How'd you do that? Make her phone work, Lux asked.
Oh, I didn't tell you. I'm a technopath, Tech says. Lux raises an eyebrow.
So, yes, the dialogue is cringy. What?
Technopath.
Yeah, and her name is Tech.
Wow.
Not very... I did name her myself. I know the name's not very creative, but
I like it. Okay.
wanted the names... I explained before in a different stream. I wanted the names to be somewhat memorable, but not something that somebody else already has. So, until we get to, like, the alien characters... Mm-hmm. This is what it's got to be. And I know some of the lines, or if not most of the lines, are cringy, but I'm just doing this to try and set up exposition for this universe. Once we get to the second book, I think the lines get a lot better, because we know who the characters are, who the main ones are. And hearing you out loud say them, it's making me cringe. So go ahead, Tech rules.
Tech rolls her dark blue eyes, or eye rather, as she has her hair combed over her left eye scar.
So her left eye, during getting the serum, she went blind.
Mm-hmm. So one eye.
Mm-hmm.
I can control technology. That, and I can send out EMP waves. It's not always good to do that though, because it'll affect cars, depending on how advanced the car is. And I'll cause trouble for those driving.
Dope.
Dope.
Tech lightly pushes him on the shoulder, laughing. From a distance, Kendra watches him. So Kendra is a childhood friend of Lux.
Dope.
That fell in love with him over the course of them growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so stupid he didn't realize that
Oh.
she was, like, in love with him. But she just admitted to being in love with him, and now she's becoming overtly jealous that he's hanging out with this new girl.
Ooh.
Yeah. And we're about to go into her backstory now.
Oh.
Kendra Perry was the only child of an upper middle class family.
Who wrote this?
She grew up in Haven City Public School system and was ostracized by most. Do you know what ostracized means, John? It's a big word.
Yeah, bro. A little too big, though.
You don't...
You gotta lower this vocab.
Okay, yeah. But, well, dope. Ostracized by most of her, the other kids, who constantly said things such as, oh, she thinks she's better than us, and she can't be that much better than us since she goes to school with us. The entirety of kindergarten through elementary school, she could not keep any friends. Not long after she'd make one, they distanced themselves from her, usually because of the other friends that the kid who had told them to stay away from her. Oh my God, what was that sentence? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. We're gonna move past that. Because of this, Kendra grew up pretty lonely, keeping to herself as the quiet kid. She wasn't even picked on face to face. There were no bullies that would try to trip her or slap the books out of her hands. She was just ignored. This was the case until the first day of middle school. She believed that middle school would be a repeat of elementary, and she preemptively stayed away from everyone. But her distance caught the eye of someone who wasn't that super popular either. Though he was mutual friends with a lot of students through his fighting reputation, he grew up fighting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He had only one true friend at the time, Tucker, who was the dude that just got the serum to phase through stuff. Like, did you see the new season of My Hero yet?
I read the manga.
Okay, so Lemillion.
Oh, it's like the
Like
okay.
Lemillion.
Has to hold
But
his
it's
breath too.
no, it's not. Actually,
Oh.
yes.
Oh.
But he can control. He doesn't like phase through the floor and pop out and stuff. How long he holds his breath depends on how long he can stay phased. And we learned that there's like a mini tournament arc in one of the books. I think it's the second one. And the person he's fighting finds out that he's holding his breath the entire time he stays
They
phased.
punch him in the stomach, make him breathe.
You can't if he's phased, John.
Damn.
Where was I? Tucker. They both approached her with Ava, but Jay spoke first. So even then, back then, Ava and Tucker were like still close.
Oh, cute.
Hey, I'm Jay, he said. This is my best friend Tuck and his girlfriend Ava. Nice to meet you. I'm trying to make them sound like kids because this is something a kid would say. Like, very...
Very kidsy.
Let's continue. Kendra was speechless. She had no idea what to say back. Jay looked at her, puzzled. Well, what's your name, he asked. Kendra's lips finally parted as sound escaped. You're Kendra.
Kendra, she said softly. Jay raised an eyebrow.
Kendra, huh? He said. Mind if I call you Ken? She smiled and shook her head. And since that day, she attached herself to him. He gave her the attention her parents didn't. He gave her the attention no one else did. The first person to see her just as that, a person. She only saw him as a friend until the next day in 6th grade, where he protected her. Until the day. I was about to say the next day. Until
The next day? One whole day?
Until the day in 6th grade where he protected her. You're the 8th grader, go ahead.
The fuck are you protecting her for? An 8th grader asked. Yes, kids in the middle school sweared, even in elementary.
I feel like that's the case for most public schools.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
All schools, yeah.
It was after school, and a triplet of 8th graders thought it would be funny to shove a 6th grade girl around. Jay left his conversation with Tucker and Ava to jump between Kendra and the big kids. Visible confusion. You see my Instagram post of the visible confusion?
Oh, I did actually.
Yeah. You didn't like it though, John. I'm kidding.
I might have skipped it.
Visible confusion came across the leader's face before one of his cronies whispered into his ear. That's Jay, he informed. He's known for his fighting reputation. Yeah, we should just leave them alone, the other crony said.
Fuck that, the leader said, stepping to Jay, who put his hand out in front of Kendra, signaling for her to stay back.
Wait, okay.
The leader swung, and Jay, knowing he couldn't dodge because Kendra was behind him, tried to stop the punch. But because he was smaller, the leader's fist connected to his jaw, causing him to bleed.
You're also Kendra.
Jay! Kendra shouted. Jay kept his hand out.
Stay back, Ken, he said. This will only take a minute. Jay stood his ground and waited for the leader to throw another punch, which he did, but this time Jay used the momentum of the leader's arm to push it upward as he slid in, giving the leader a body blow. The leader crouched over in pain and out of breath from the gut shot before standing back up and wildly swinging a hook. This time Jay could duck because Kendra had taken a few steps back. He connected a right then left hook to the leader's ribs before reaching his right arm further upward to connect a third hook to the leader's face, dropping him. His cronies stood back and let their leader stay on the ground. So I'm told I'm good at writing action. Could you follow that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great.
Punch, punch, hook, hook.
Yeah, that's all it was. But it gets a little more complicated when there are superpowers involved. Go ahead.
Jesus, who taught this kid how to fight? The leader asked. Jay stood over him.
My mom, he answered, fully knowing that his father taught his mom from military training, and his mother taught him after his father disappeared. He looked back at Kendra, and smiled, giving her a thumbs up, his knuckles red and swollen. Kendra loved it. He was her protector, like a guardian angel that showed up just for her. Since this day, she couldn't help but gradually fall in love with him more and more but she could never admit it to him because he might reject her and she'd go back to being alone. These feelings had to stay hidden. Until they didn't. Kendra now stands in front of Haven City Hospital and looks up at the sign before sighing and walking through the door. So at the end of, I think it was chapter 9, she told him she wants to get the serum. Which is life-threatening, or could be life-threatening essentially, but the main characters don't die from it, obviously. I don't think I've ever written a character that I gave a full backstory to and they just straight up died from the serum.
You should.
I should.
That'd be fun. Make them really relatable.
Yeah.
Just kill them off.
Yeah. I actually do that in the third book. I told them to watch out for the third book in the series because that is when stuff starts to get... And it's titled Descendant Destruction. So you know.
So we know what's...
So you know what's coming. Although they might not think any main characters are going to die. But that's where you got to throw them off, John. Chapter 11. Ignitro sits down at Durante's desk, rubbing the palms of his hands all over it. Isaac stands in front of him. So Ignitro is the son of Durante. Durante was a mob boss that
Nice.
Jay worked for in order to get the money for the serum, pay for his mom's hospital bills, and pay the rent. When he couldn't get a regular job, he was just failing at it. So he worked for these jerks. Ignitro just had his father assassinated.
His father.
Yeah, Ignitro just had Durante, his
Oh.
father, assassinated. And now he's taken over the family business. Isaac is their bodyguard, essentially.
Nice.
Big black dude.
Unit.
I need to speak with you privately, Mateo, Isaac says. Ignitro looks past Isaac and the guard standing at the door. Also, I know his name is not... I combined the name Isaiah and Isaac to make that because I would get the name Isaac confused and I'd say Isaac when I saw it. So that's where he got his nickname from. And his actual name is Isaiah Isaac. So
Isaiah Isaac.
Yeah. So that's where he gets his name from. Little author note. Okay, you're Mateo, or Ignitro. Looks past Isaac at the guard standing at the door.
Could you give us the room, please? He asks. The guard opens the door and walks out, and turn up the fucking heat.
He's Italian, so do an Italian accent.
Turn up the fucking heat.
No, don't do that. He looks at the only picture Durante has on his desk and places it photo side down. That was the photo. It was a family photo of him, his father, and his mother. Go ahead.
What can I do for ya?
No, okay, don't do an accent. What was that?
Irish?
That was Irish?
A little Italian?
Or Scottish? No, there was no Italian in that.
What can I do for you, Isaac?
Isaiah.
Isaac? Ignitro asks.
Your father was killed. I found his body. How are you not even a little broken up over this? Isaiah questions.
I wasn't too attached to the old man, Ignitro says, waving his hand.
Aren't you even the least bit curious about who killed him? Isaac persists. Ignitro puts his palm out as if the answer were obvious. Isaac waits for him to say something, confused as to why his hand is out. The Delacroix, that's how you say that. It's a French name.
Ooh, I like that. The Delacroix. That's who fucking did it. I mean, who else could it be? Ignitro finally says.
Do you have proof? Isaac asks, skeptical.
Are you questioning me? Isaac? You never once questioned my father, Ignitro says, pointing at him. We may be nearly the same age, but that does not make us equals. Understand?
Isaac looks at the ground. Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, sir.
There you go, big guy, Ignitro says condescendingly. Now, first order of business. Let's get that Jones kid working for us again. We're gonna need soldiers. Superpowered ones. If we want to go after that freak Delacroix family.
That was a good flow there with that. Yes, man. Good job with that. The Delacroix, well, there are big hints as to what they are. But I'm just going to tell you.
They're aliens.
No.
They're fucking mutants.
No.
Alien mutant monsters.
You're getting...
Gods.
No.
Kings.
Kings? That's still human, isn't it?
Kings of gods.
They're vampires.
That's my next guess.
Was it?
After zombies.
Vampires. But what we learn in Destruction is I don't know how long it's gonna be. Anybody watching, this is a spoiler for the third book. What we learn in Destruction is that mythological creatures are aliens. So they are aliens. Right. Yes.
I knew it.
But except vampires. Vampires are cousins of demons.
And what are demons from?
Hell.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair.
In this universe, hell is a dimension, so there's no up or down. It's something you gotta teleport to.
With the Tesseract? Or?
No, some people have... There's no Tesseract!
It might be.
No!
Different portals, right?
No, a lot of these cosmic alien things and demons and angels have the power to create portals and just go through these dimensions. Moving on. Commander Asai jumps up from her desk. A second invasion? Detro and May both nod violently. The woman standing next to her desk, opposite Cobbs, looks down at her. Celeste, get Price. We're going to need to interrogate this invader further.
Wait.
Think of Harley Quinn with May. Don't do the voice.
But think of it.
Just think of that.
Wait, you guys are already interrogating him? May asks. I say a nod.
Asai.
Asai nods.
Any AI is an I. So Daiichi.
Asai.
Asai. Yes.
Daiichi.
They're both Japanese.
And he didn't tell you anything? Asai.
No.
Asai shakes her head. But he told us that he was here for 7 superpowered peeps.
One of them being Ash, Detro finishes. Detro means destruction in Latin.
Oh, yeah. I know my Latin.
Why was that your response? You knew that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Asai looks at Celeste, and she looks back. Celeste is Mother Nature. She created Ash.
Oh.
There's a phoenix dying. We went into this last chapter as well. There's a phoenix dying, and as he turned into ashes, she did some magic stuff, and that as the phoenix came back up, it came back as a human baby. So he's been a human for 17 years, but he's been a phoenix for thousands of years.
Oh.
Yeah. So Celeste is Mother Nature, but she's part of something bigger. I'm not gonna get into what they are yet.
Gods.
No.
Aliens.
Bigger than gods.
Cousins of gods.
Cousins of gods? Is that bigger than gods? That just sounds like less than... No. Stop trying to guess. No. Where was I? one of them being Ash. Detro finishes. Asai looks at Celeste, and she looks back. Asai puts a hand on her own chin. Maybe he won't respond to us, but he finds you guys comforting for some reason, Asai ponders. See what else you can get out of him. I'll give you the chance to. Detro and May leave the office as Asai and Celeste go back to looking at each other.
Ma'am, Cobb says, we just received an alert.
Damn it, Asai says. Put every hero in the area on high alert. I'll trust you to oversee it, Cobbs. Celeste and I need to focus on this bigger information we just received from the captive. Cobbs nods, determination all across her face. A bank robbery? Lux asks, looking at his phone. Tech peeks over his shoulder. 2 blocks.
Any info on the robbers? Tech asks.
A witness not being held hostage recognizes the one leading it, Lux reads. The man goes by the Advocate. His fellow robbers haven't been identified, nor have they been counted.
So they have no idea how many there are, Tech confirms. Lux looks at her.
Well, what do you say? He asks. Want to stop another robbery? So this whole scene has been added from the original book that I had. I just want to kind of to have more action and have more prisoners for the government prison that holds all of these serum people that are evil. And I also wanted to showcase their powers a little more. So the only person that's actually read this scene so far is my mother, who's actually up to date on all of my books.
Ooh.
Yes. Shout out to moms. But this, I really enjoy this bank robbery scene because the Advocate himself is a very funny dude, and well, let's just, you'll see. From inside HC Bank, Haven City Bank, a man clad in a button-up and slacks and a Kevlar vest wields an assault rifle, eyeing each of the hostages that his men tie up. Don't cough, ever.
Ever.
One of his right hands, Volcan, a man covered in ash with cracks of volcanic lava going through his skin, approaches the Advocate with a radio device. I have a picture of him drawn already. I can show you after what he looks like, but yeah. The Advocate picks it up and presses the talk button. You be the negotiator.
All right, Grant. We have information on you, the Chief Navigator says over the radio. Negotiator says over the radio. Surrounding him and the entire bank building is a fifth of Haven City's police department, which is a lot, but standard for a bank robbery as big as this one.
You will refer to me as my new government name. The Advocate commands, or a bullet will find its way into the first hostage.
Okay, right. My apologies. Advocate.
The Advocate. The Advocate corrects.
Sorry. The Advocate.
Capitalize that T, too. The Advocate adds. Go ahead.
Of course, I did that, the negotiator says. We know that you rejected being tested by the doctor after receiving the serum. I'm assuming the same goes for anyone that might have superpowers and they're assisting you. We'd like to know your demands.
That's the wrong there, isn't it? I'm not going to correct it now. Go away, the Advocate says. Those are my demands.
Oh, come on, the Advocate. You know we can't do that, the negotiator says. Be a little more reasonable.
Bang. A shot rings out over the radio. Along with this, screams are heard.
Did you just...
What is your name, Mr. Negotiator? The Advocate asked.
Now, why would I give you what you want if you're not
Click. The Advocate is readying his rifle to kill another hostage, and the negotiator begins sweating, trying to steady his breath. Remember, I have the power in the situation, Mr. Negotiator, the Advocate says. Now I ask you your name.
Will.
Will what?
Weaver. Will Weaver.
Your name has alliteration, the Advocate says. You could have been a hero yourself, Will. Ever consider getting the serum? I hear it does wonders for humans.
I
Observe, Will Weaver. the advocate says. He waits for a response from the negotiator, but nothing comes. Come find me in the bank. If anyone asks why you're headed inside, tell them that you're going to die. Static on the other end of the radio outside. The cops see Weaver walking towards the door. Chief, what are you doing? It's not safe in there, a cop calls out.
I'm going to die, Weaver says robotically. The cops exchange looks, not knowing what to do.
Luckily, Lux and Tech show up on the scene. A cop steps to them.
Are you two registered? The cop asks. Lux nods. Tech and Lux, Tech affirms.
Thank God, the officer says. Weaver just said he's headed inside to die. Can you stop him? Weaver is almost to the door and tries to push through it, but he cannot get it to budge. Tech has her hands out and has stopped the handicap door from working until using her technopathy. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know how.
Techopathy.
Technopathy or technopathy is one of the two. I haven't figured it out.
Oh, that's a good question.
But it's an electric door, one of those handicap doors, and you can't get through because she's controlling it.
Oh.
Yeah. Nice thinking, Rox. Tech, Lux says. He turns to the officer that approached him. Can someone fill us in?
We can't see inside, the cop says. All we know is that the leader goes by the advocate, and his boyfriend is behind the lines.
Surprise, he's gay.
That did surprise me. He's the one that could give us any information at all.
The officer walks to the two heroes over to Charlie, the advocate's boyfriend.
Charlie.
He's a completely different person, Charlie tells him. I didn't even know he was going to get the serum.
What can you tell us about him? Tech asks.
His name is Grant Scott. He's Scottish-American. He likes to correct people. His favorite color is...
Anything that might give us a hint to what his abilities might be? Or who else might be inside besides him and the hostages? Lux asks. Charlie shakes his hand.
Head. You have your contacts in, John. He kept that part of his life a secret, but I knew something was up when that serum was announced, and he wouldn't shut up about it, Charlie informs. The officers welcome another hero to the scene, the same that helped them stop Detonate. That's the guy that was exploding.
Oh.
So Detonate and Grenade.
He got that name before he was exploding, or?
No. It was when he registered.
Oh, okay.
He gave himself that name. No, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Let's say after. It makes more sense for after. Because, yeah. Anthro-Man. So Anthro, you know...
I remember this one. You would tell me about him.
Yeah. His name is Man, essentially, because Anthro in Latin means man, right?
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
And his power is power negation, so that's how he was able to stop the explodey dude. He's also Canadian, so there you go.
Oh. Hey, here to help, the hero dressed in a gray spandex suit says.
Hey, I remember you, Lux says.
Okay, before we figure out what needs to be done, we need to know each other's powers, Tech says.
Boom. The sound barrier breaks over their heads. Ardentia has arrived as well. She floats down to their level. So I have a lot of Superman homage characters. She's one of them. She's more like Supergirl though, except significantly less overpowered.
Not invincible.
Yeah, she's not invincible. She's very durable, but not invincible.
Left the car?
Yeah.
Left the boulder?
Easily. That, like...
Move mountains?
It might be difficult, but she can. But... You know how the super family in the comics is, like, ridiculously overpowered. Like, moving mountains is still nothing for them. She's nowhere near their level. I purposely made it that, so she's not that boring of a character to focus on.
So she can die.
Yeah, I don't want her to be invincible.
And you might kill her.
Yeah, I might. There's a few of the 7 that die, actually. Spoiler alert, in the future, you just don't know who. So don't get attached to any of them is my advice. I have her, the guy in the beginning, Noble, was a Superman homage. He was like Superman and Captain America. He has a shield.
That sounds way too OP.
Yeah, but he's not there right now. You'll see what... Why did it just go back to... Did it just refresh on its own? Oh boy, that is weird. How do I... It was chapter 11, right? I don't know why it did that. Yeah. It's never done that before. I have Noble, Strive. Well, the whole planet. I have a planet of aliens called Semigonics,
Ooh.
which means part dragon.
Ooh.
Semigonic dragon. And all of them are essentially like Supermen, Kryptonians. But
Do they look like dragons? Do they have a tail?
no, they're blue skinned though. That has nothing to do with dragons, but they're blue skinned. And they're created by alien god dragons. So that's why they're part dragon. And they're all essentially Kryptonian. So I have I think 6 of them that are
Do they blow fire?
no, they have heat vision, but no, they don't blow fire.
Hmm.
The dragons do. The alien gods, god dragons do. But we'll get to them. They're actually, I added a scene. It's gonna be like a teaser scene at the end of each book that goes into this completely other planet called Nebulon, and it's the dragon's planet.
Ah,
The alien god.
they're
dragon
very like
people.
advanced
Yes, very.
for dragons.
But they don't look like, they're like humanoid.
They
Yeah.
have pointy ears.
Yes, they're not elf ears though. They're just pointed at the tip here.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't really like elf ears. They freak me out.
Oh shit.
But some of them they like hide their wings and tail. Like one, the dragon of space, Mara. Some of them just completely have their wings and tail out because they're proud of their dragon heritage or whatever.
And you should be.
I don't think any dragons are watching this, John.
Shout out to dragons.
Ardentia floats down to her level. Where's the rest? Lux asks, a hint of anger in his voice. Before Ardentia answers, another officer approaches the 4 heroes, telling them that he has Cobbs over the radio. He's not getting inside somehow, the advocate thinks aloud. Volkan, did you unlock the doors?
I sure did, boss. Volkan ushers Aurora Ray. Aurora Ray, the
Yeah.
only henchman under the advocate, forms a triangle with her hands over her right eye. She stares at Weaver and sees him in a gray silhouette.
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 You say silhouette?
I don't know what I said.
He's still under your control, she says. She's wearing an outfit similar to the advocate, but Volkan is only wearing slacks and a belt. The bank has cameras all around. Though it's possible that they shot them all out, Cobbs tells the heroes over the radio. Tech, see if you can hook up any cameras inside inside the building to your phone.
Let's hope my range goes that far to begin with, Tech says. She closes her eye and concentrates for any working electronic